If you believe it, you create it. Let me start with something I have learned after decades of studying success, human potential, and achievement. The most powerful force shaping your life today is not your background, not your education, not your circumstances. It is your belief system. What you truly believe deep down, emotionally, without doubt, begins to shape the reality you experience. I've seen people with very little education build extraordinary lives. I've seen people with every advantage struggle for years. And the difference almost always comes down to one simple factor: what they believe is possible for them. So let me ask you a question. What is one thing you deeply want in your life right now, but a part of you still doubts you can achieve? Think about it for a moment. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I want you to write it in the comments below. What is that goal? What is that dream? Because the moment you bring it into the open, you begin the process of turning belief into reality. Here's something most people never fully understand. Your mind is constantly translating belief into action. Every thought you repeat becomes stronger. Every belief you accept becomes a filter through which you see the world. And eventually, those beliefs begin to control the decisions you make every single day. If you believe success is possible for you, you start acting like a person who expects success. You take opportunities. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. But if you believe success is out of reach, something fascinating happens. Your mind begins to protect that belief. You hesitate. You delay. You second guess yourself. And slowly, without realizing it, you create exactly the life you expected. Your beliefs become your blueprint. I learned this lesson early in my life when I was struggling. I worked labor jobs. I washed dishes. I loaded trucks. At one point, I was so broke, I was sleeping in my car. And during that time, I started asking myself a very important question. Why are some people so successful while others struggle year after year? So I began studying the habits and thinking patterns of highly successful people. And I discovered something that changed my life forever. Successful people believe in possibilities before they see proof. They don't wait for evidence. They start with belief. They imagine a bigger future. They picture themselves achieving it. And then they begin moving toward it with persistence and determination. Your brain is a goal-seeking mechanism. It works 24 hours a day to move you toward what you consistently think about. When you believe something strongly enough, your mind begins to search for ways to make it real. You start noticing opportunities that were invisible before. You meet people who open doors. You take actions that previously felt uncomfortable. And step by step, your life begins to change. But here's the challenge most people face. They allow their past to define their beliefs about the future. Maybe someone told them they weren't talented enough. Maybe they failed once. Maybe they tried something and it didn't work out. And they quietly decide, maybe this just isn't for me. But I want you to understand something very important. Your past is not a predictor of your future unless you allow it to control your beliefs. Every successful person you admire has experienced failure. In fact, most of them failed far more than the average person ever attempts. But they believe something different. They believed that failure was feedback. They believed that every setback contained a lesson. And most importantly, they believed that persistence would eventually lead to success. Let me give you a powerful truth I've seen proven thousands of times. When you change your beliefs, you change your behavior. And when you change your behavior consistently over time, you change your results. That is the formula. Belief influences action. Action produces results. Results reinforce belief. And this cycle either builds your success or limits your life. Now here's where it gets really exciting, because beliefs are not fixed. They are learned, and anything that is learned can be changed. You were not born believing you couldn't succeed. You learned that somewhere along the way, maybe from your environment, maybe from other people, maybe from your own experiences. But just as those beliefs were formed, they can be replaced. And the first step is awareness. Ask yourself honestly, what beliefs might be holding me back right now? Do you believe you're not smart enough? Do you believe success is only for other people? Do you believe you don't have the right connections? Each one of these beliefs acts like an invisible wall in your life. And the most dangerous thing about these walls is that they exist only in your mind. Because in reality, the world is filled with examples of people who started with nothing and built incredible lives. The difference is not their starting point. The difference is what they chose to believe about their potential. One of the most powerful decisions you can make today is to adopt what I call the possibility mindset. Instead of asking, what if I fail? You begin asking, what if this actually works? Instead of focusing on obstacles, you begin focusing on solutions. Instead of doubting yourself, you begin training your mind to expect progress. And when you do that, something remarkable begins to happen. Your confidence grows. Your energy increases. Your persistence strengthens. Because belief is fuel for action. And action repeated day after day is what ultimately transforms dreams into reality. Now I want you to think about something. Imagine two people starting in the exact same situation. Same resources, same opportunities, same environment. One of them believes their future can improve dramatically. The other believes life probably won't change much. Who do you think takes more action? Who do you think pushes through obstacles? Who do you think keeps going after the first failure? Of course, the person who believes change is possible. That belief alone alters their behavior, and that behavior changes their results. This is why belief is not just a motivational idea. It is a practical strategy for success. And the greatest performers in every field understand this principle deeply. Athletes visualize victory before competition. Entrepreneurs imagine successful companies before launching them. Leaders envision a better future before anyone else can see it. They start with belief, and then they build reality around it. But here's the key. Belief alone is not enough. Belief must be supported by disciplined action. You must feed your belief with learning, effort, and persistence. Because when belief and action combine, they create unstoppable momentum. And once momentum begins, progress accelerates. Opportunities expand. Confidence multiplies. And what once felt impossible begins to feel inevitable. In the next part of this conversation, I'm going to share something extremely important. I'm going to show you exactly how to train your mind to build stronger beliefs. Beliefs that push you forward instead of holding you back. Because once you learn how to control your beliefs, you gain control over the direction of your life. And that is where true personal power begins. Let me continue with something that may completely change the way you think about your future. If you truly want to create a different life, you must become extremely careful about the ideas you allow into your mind. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it, positive or negative, will eventually grow. Most people underestimate this principle. They allow doubt, fear, and criticism to enter their thinking every single day without realizing the long-term effect. But every repeated thought becomes a belief, and every belief eventually shapes behavior. So the first step in strengthening your belief system is simple, but incredibly powerful. Guard your mind. Pay attention to the conversations you have. Pay attention to the content you consume. Pay attention to the people whose opinions you absorb. Because every influence either strengthens your belief in your potential or weakens it. I made a decision early in my career that changed everything. I decided that I would deliberately surround myself with ideas that expanded my thinking. Read books about successful people. I listened to educational programs. I attended seminars and workshops whenever I could, and something fascinating began to happen. The more I filled my mind with empowering ideas, the more my confidence grew. I began to think bigger. I began to expect more from myself. And most importantly, I began to take action that previously felt intimidating. Your brain has an incredible feature called selective attention. It constantly scans the environment and highlights things that match your dominant beliefs. If you believe opportunities exist, your brain begins noticing opportunities. If you believe solutions exist, your brain starts searching for solutions. But if you believe things are hopeless or impossible, your brain filters the world through that expectation as well. So one of the most powerful habits you can develop is feeding your mind with the right information every day. Successful people are extremely intentional about this. They read daily. They learn continuously. They study ideas that strengthen their thinking. And over time, their beliefs become stronger and more empowering. But there is another technique that I have seen produce extraordinary results for people all over the world. Visualization. Your mind cannot easily distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you repeatedly picture yourself achieving a goal, you begin conditioning your brain to accept that outcome as possible. I want you to try something simple. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the life you truly want. Imagine achieving that goal you mentioned earlier. Picture the details clearly. Where are you? Who is around you? How do you feel? The more vivid the image becomes, the more your brain begins adjusting your behavior toward that outcome. This is not magic. It is psychology. When your brain accepts a new possibility, it begins guiding your decisions toward it. Athletes have used visualization for decades. Many of the greatest performers in sports mentally rehearse their success long before the competition begins. They see themselves winning. They see themselves performing at their best. And by the time the real moment arrives, their mind already believes it can happen. You can apply this exact principle to your career, your finances, your goals, and your personal growth. Every morning, spend a few minutes imagining the person you are becoming. Imagine the discipline you have. Imagine the confidence you carry. Imagine the progress you are making, because the clearer the picture becomes, the stronger your belief becomes. And remember what we started with. If you believe it, you begin to create it. Now there is another important element that many people overlook. Your language. The words you use every day reveal and reinforce your beliefs. Listen carefully to how people speak about their lives. Some people constantly say things like, "I can't do that, that's too hard, people like me don't." Succeed at things like that. Every time they repeat these phrases, they strengthen the belief behind them. But highly successful people speak very differently. They say things like, "I'll figure it out. There must be a way. This is a challenge, but I can learn how to handle it." Do you see the difference? Their language keeps possibility alive, and that language shapes their actions. So I want to give you a powerful challenge. For the next 7 days, become extremely aware of the words you use when you talk about your goals. Whenever you catch yourself saying something limiting, pause and replace it with something constructive. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," say, "I'm learning how to do this." Instead of saying, "This will never work," say, "What would make this work?" These small shifts in language may seem simple, but over time they reprogram your thinking. And when your thinking changes, your confidence grows. Another important truth I've learned is that belief becomes stronger through evidence. Every time you complete a task, solve a problem, or overcome an obstacle, you create proof that you are capable of more than you realized. That is why taking action, no matter how small, is so important. Waiting for confidence before acting is a mistake. Confidence grows after action. You take a step, you learn something, you gain experience, and suddenly the next step feels easier. Success is rarely the result of one giant breakthrough. It is usually the result of hundreds of small actions taken consistently over time. Each action reinforces the belief that progress is possible, and that belief fuels even more action. This is how momentum builds. Now think about the goals you wrote down earlier. The biggest mistake people make is believing they must accomplish everything immediately. That pressure creates doubt. But successful people think differently. They ask one simple question: what is the next step? Not the entire path, just the next step. When you focus on the next step, progress becomes manageable, and every completed step strengthens belief. Over time, small steps turn into major accomplishments. Let me also remind you of something extremely important. Belief does not mean ignoring challenges. Life will always present obstacles, but belief changes how you interpret those obstacles. Instead of seeing them as proof you should stop, you see them as part of the journey. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That mindset alone can transform your resilience. Because the truth is this: every meaningful goal requires persistence. Every great achievement involves setbacks along the way. But the people who succeed are the ones who maintain belief even when progress feels slow. They remind themselves that growth takes time. They stay committed, they stay disciplined, and they continue moving forward. In the final part of this message, I'm going to share one of the most powerful realizations about belief in creation. It's something that separates dreamers from achievers. And once you understand it, you will begin looking at your goals and your potential in a completely different way. Now, let me share with you one of the most important realizations about belief that I have learned after decades of studying personal success. Belief is not just something you feel. Belief is something you practice. Most people think belief is a moment of inspiration. They watch a motivational video, they feel energized for a day or two, and then the feeling fades. But lasting belief works very differently. Real belief is built through repetition. It is built through daily habits. It is built through the small decisions you make when no one is watching. If you repeatedly think about your goals, repeatedly visualize success, repeatedly take action, your belief becomes stronger and stronger over time. Eventually, something remarkable happens. Your goal stops feeling like a distant dream and starts feeling like an expected outcome. And that shift in expectation changes everything. Because when you expect success, you behave differently. You prepare more seriously. You persist longer. You recover faster from setbacks. And slowly, almost quietly, your results begin to reflect that expectation. This is why some people achieve extraordinary things while others remain stuck for years. The difference is not intelligence. The difference is not luck. The difference is the level of belief they practice every single day. Let me tell you something I've observed in thousands of successful individuals. They all have moments of doubt, every single one, but they don't allow doubt to control their decisions. Instead, they return their focus to belief and action. They remind themselves why their goal matters. They review their progress, and they take another step forward. Doubt is natural, but persistence is a choice. And belief grows stronger every time you choose. Persistence over hesitation. Now there is another powerful idea that can completely transform your life if you apply it consistently. Act as if the person you want to become is already developing inside you. Act as if your future success is already on its way. This does not mean pretending or ignoring reality. It means aligning your behavior with the identity you want to create. If you want to become successful, ask yourself, how would a successful person think in this situation? How would they respond to this challenge? What action would they take next? When you begin acting in alignment with that identity, something fascinating happens. Your confidence grows, your habits improve, and your environment begins responding differently to you. Opportunities often come to people who behave as if they are ready for them, because readiness is visible through action. Another thing I want you to remember is this: belief multiplies energy. When you believe your actions matter, you approach your work with enthusiasm. You become more creative. You become more focused. You become more resilient. And that energy attracts progress. But when belief is weak, energy disappears. Tasks feel heavier. Challenges feel overwhelming. And motivation fades quickly. So if you ever feel stuck, do not just focus on the problem. Strengthen the belief behind your actions. Reconnect with your purpose. Remind yourself why your goal is important. Because belief is the emotional engine behind achievement. Now let me bring this idea back to the simple statement we began with. If you believe it, you create it. This does not mean that belief alone instantly produces results. What it means is that belief starts a chain reaction. Belief influences your thoughts. Thoughts influence your decisions. Decisions influence your actions. Actions repeated over time shape your reality. And that is how creation actually happens. Step by step, choice by choice, day by day. I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine looking back at your life 5 years from today. Imagine seeing the progress you made because you chose to strengthen your beliefs instead of limiting them. Imagine the skills you developed, the goals you achieved, the confidence you built. All of that begins with a decision you can make right now. The decision to believe in your ability to grow. The decision to believe that your future can be bigger than your past. The decision to believe that consistent effort is necessary to achieve success will eventually produce results. Because once that belief takes root, your behavior begins to change. And when behavior changes, outcomes follow. Let me leave you with a simple practice that can reshape your mindset if you commit to it. Every morning, remind yourself of 3 things. First, remind yourself of the goal you are pursuing. Second, remind yourself why it matters deeply to you. And third, commit to one action you will take today that moves you closer to it. Just one action. When you repeat this process every day, belief strengthens, momentum grows, and progress becomes inevitable. Remember, extraordinary lives are not built in a single moment. They are built through consistent belief, disciplined thinking, and persistent action. You have far more potential than you realize. Your mind is capable of learning faster, adapting quicker, and creating more opportunities than you may currently believe. But it all begins with the decision to believe in possibility. So I want to ask you one more question before you leave this video. What would you attempt if you truly believed success was possible for you? Take a moment and think about it. And if this message resonated with you, write your answer in the comments below. When you declare a goal publicly, you strengthen your commitment to it. And remember this as you move forward. The future you create will always reflect the beliefs you choose to practice today. If you believe it and you support that belief with action, you begin to create it.